Hi, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Lifetime Value. My name is Ritik. Today, I'm extremely excited to have the CCO, the Chief Commercial Officer of Jüsto, one of Mexico's leading, if not the best, e-commerce grocery store. Alejandro has been part of the founding team of Jsto, and together with the CEO and the executive team, they've achieved a lot of success in approximately a year since launch. They've been able to raise $20 million in about less than a year and achieved about 330% growth in that time. Today, Alejandro is here to talk about how his team has been able to achieve such great success in such a short period of time, share his background and what led to the founding of Jsto, and how he's able to keep existing customers happy while having this insane growth, and what makes the Mexican market so attractive for Jsto. So without further ado, please help me welcome Alejandro.
Hi, Ritik. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. I'm also very excited. I have been in a tons of interviews, but I think this is my first podcast. I am also really excited about it. Well, I will tell you a little bit about myself. I have been working for tech companies for the past 10 years. I started my life in startups when I joined Cabify back in 2015. I was one of the first employees here at Cabify, and I joined as the head of sales, basically to develop all our B2B strategy. After 10 months of a very successful revamp of the platform here in Mexico City, I became the global head of sales and basically designed all the B2B strategy of the company. Back then, we were only in 4 countries. Then I was part of the expansion team that was led by Ricardo, the founder of Jsto. We opened like 40 cities in 6 months. It was crazy times. Wow. And after we finished the expansion, I became the country manager for Mexico. And I was country manager for Mexico for about 3 years or so. And after that, I moved to a global position. I became the VP of Strategic Alliances. And I was talking to some of the most important companies in Latin America to see how we can work together, Cabify and their companies. And we had actually really good alliances back then. I received an opportunity to join an American company that is called Instructure. I have been a professor myself for the past 18 years. I'm in love with education. That's what I want to do with my life. I think that's one of the best ways to give back to my country what I have learned. So I received a call from this company named Instructure. They do some edtech software. They are the creators of Canvas, that is a digital platform. And they asked me to become their VP for Latin America. So I decided to join them and basically spend a year and a half talking to the most important private universities in the region, in Brazil, Colombia, Mexico, Chile, helping them to develop their online programs and moving them to online education. That is for sure the future. I know Ricardo when we were both studying in high school, and he invited me to be part of Cabify. I was working in a family-owned business when Ricardo asked me to join him in Cabify. Then I went to Instructure, and it was in 2019 when he pitched me about Jsto, and I completely fell in love with the project, the vision, and what the company was trying to do. So I decided first to invest most of my savings in Jsto, then join as a co-founder. It was a difficult decision because I was super happy with Instructure. It's an amazing company. It was the first time for me that I worked for a public company in the US. So coming from a startup and moving to a super huge company with really good processes and all that was a really good thing for me. But I was so in love with Jsto and the project that I decided to quit and join as the chief commercial officer. At the beginning, I was like, it cannot be as difficult as Cabify, right? And I'm going to be like the head of the procurement department. How hard can it be to buy products? I mean, we have money. We have platform to sell those products, so it should be super easy to buy products. I think this is the most difficult work I have ever had.
Wow.
It's super complex. And that is how I joined Jsto. I have been there for a year now, and very surprised with what we are doing as well. I mean, it's amazing what we have been able to do. We basically built a supermarket in 6 months.
Look, as a customer, I'm extremely impressed with what you guys are doing. On the surface, perhaps people might be like, oh, this is just another insert blank e-grocery store. But in reality, what I feel, especially in times like these, is the attention to detail that you guys put that you don't see anywhere else. For our listeners as well, I met Alejandro through an introduction from Ricardo, whom I emailed on LinkedIn. So I'm extremely excited to speak with Jsto, which is why I've really gone above and beyond to get Alejandro on the podcast. So maybe we can dig a bit deeper. Why don't you explain a bit more of the process of Jsto and how perhaps it's different from any of the other e-grocery stores?
Yeah, for sure. So basically, Jsto is the first 100% online supermarket in Mexico, and we think ourselves as pioneers in Latin America. And this is very important because we are not a traditional e-commerce. I mean, some of the grocery stores that are now in the Mexican market do have a platform to sell their products, and they send the products to your home. But that's it. I mean, when we say we are the first 100% online supermarket in Mexico, we are saying that we have tech in all our supply chain.
Okay.
And that's super important for us. So what we're trying to do is building the technology to become the Latin America's favorite supermarket, like in less than 10 years. So it's a very aggressive objective, the one that we have, but we really think that we can do that and we can achieve that. We offer consumers locally sourced products. That's something that it's very important. We do offer CPG products, like you can find all the brands within Jsto, but we're really focusing on giving the local producers and the small companies the opportunity to reach grocery stores. It's super difficult for a small company to sell in a really huge chain, like a Walmart or something like that. So what we're trying to do is help them to reach the population of the country through Jsto. And we have no physical stores. We are now operating with dark stores. Okay. So we do have supermarkets, but they are not open to public, and that makes us super efficient in some ways. In terms of comparing us with companies like Rappi or Corner Shop, for example, they usually have a shopper in a traditional supermarket picking all the products, right? So we don't do that. I mean, we do have some pickers, but we're very efficient because we don't have one picker picking one customer's supermarket or products. We have like technology. We developed something that we called Atlas, and it's basically like a Waze within our supermarket, so that the pickers can pick the products really, really, really fast, right? And the way we put the products in the stands is different. You can find in Jsto like the milk very close to tuna. Because that's how the products move. So we are super fast when picking. We have like 4 pillars, and you mentioned one of them. The first one is the guaranteed quality. We call them frescos más frescos. We have the best fruits and vegetables in the country. That we can say. I mean, we put a lot of effort in having really good quality products, right? Because that's how we want to differentiate ourselves with the rest of the supermarkets. We are offering a best-in-class delivery. Okay. So we want our products to be on time, or the supermarket to be on time always. Fill rate above 99.9%. So we are aiming for 100% fill rate. That means that you will get what you bought, and that's also super important for us. And fair practices with every stakeholder. Right? The commercial conditions we offer to our suppliers are really, really good compared to what the market is used to offer. So that will be like the main differentiators that we have. Right?
Very well said. Now, if I may just dig slightly deeper, since you guys are really creating something out of nothing, especially perhaps in the Mexico Latam space, how, especially as the commercial officer, you manage the unit economics of it, because like you said, everything needs to be fresh, everything needs to be on time. Those tiny little costs do add up, especially when you have an inventory that could go bad, I don't know, in a few hours or in a couple of days. How does that compare to like the unit economics where, you're a big market chain? And
we can get a lot of savings in other parts of the supply chain. For example, let's talk about real estate. Okay. Right? We don't have to have a huge store. We don't need to spend in decorating the store.
Yes.
Right. So we can be very efficient. We take less space than other supermarkets. We operate right now a supermarket in Mexico City that it's really near Colonia Polanco, that it's one of the high-end communities in Mexico City. And we're paying, I would say, 60% less than other supermarkets that are in the region because of real estate and because of other overheads that are part of being in an important street, right, in front of everyone. So we get that. The second thing is the way we operate our micro-fulfillment centers. So we don't have a huge cities where we send all our products and then we distribute to the micro-fulfillment centers. We go directly from the producer to our micro-fulfillment centers. So we gain some days there, and that makes us able to provide better pricing for our customers. So I think part of the model let us invest more in good quality products.
Very well said. Now, moving on to the next question, which is, in a very short period of time, you guys have raised a lot of money and experienced a high growth. So first of all, congratulations. How did you guys go about raising all this money, getting all of the people interested? And secondly, impressive growth is sometimes a double-edged sword, right? I mean, you can have really good growth, but then a lot of times to manage that exponential growth, you need to be prepared with your base level technology, your talent, etc. How are you able to manage that while being able to keep your current customers happy?
Okay, so I will answer the first question. I think that we do have a really good product and a really good value proposition, and that is why we are so attractive to the investors in the region, all the venture capitals and all the companies that have believed in us. We're trying to do things differently. We're being able to prove that we are doing things differently and that we are making a huge impact in the industry, even though we have 1 year in the market. And the third thing is that we are doing something that nobody's doing right now. And it has to do with using data to help customers to decide which products are the best for them, right? So if we have really good quality data that will help us give customers an idea of what products that are new in the market will fit their needs. And that's something that no one is doing. I mean, you have Amazon maybe doing that, or you have other companies that are using machine learning to predict, but in the e-grocery store, you have like no one doing that. And because we are a very small company or a startup, we can develop the technology faster. And of course, I have to say that we have a dream team within the executive team. So that also it's very appealing. I mean, you have Ricardo Beder as a CEO, but then you have another co-founder, Ricardo Martinez. He's former CEO of Netshoes and a really smart guy. And then you have Fernando Beck, our CTO. She's a first employee of or one of the first employees in Mercado Libre and then OLX. And he's been in e-commerce all his life with a lot of experience. He worked in China. So yeah. I mean, we have a dream team. Our C-level team is amazing. So that's also an important part of why companies are investing in us. About how we manage the expansion, it's been very difficult. I think none of us, not the co-founders or not even the founding team, was aware of how difficult the operation would be.
Yeah.
I mean, and for us, it's all about focusing in our value proposition, right? That's how we manage all the issues we have on the day-to-day operations. We have like 3 main goals: the freshness of products, being able to deliver on time, and a super high fill rate. And all the decisions we make are based on the positive impact on those 3 pillars. So when we have a problem, we always come up with 3 solutions to each problem. A very super short-term focused solution. We need to solve the problem and we need to solve it now. Always with looking at those 3 pillars, like how are we going to impact this decision? How it's going to impact those 3 pillars? And we solve the problem as soon as possible, right? But then we do also have a mid-term solution that imply maybe a modification of our processes or creating a new process. So we don't only like give solution to the problem immediately, because sometimes when we do that, we break all the processes that we have, because we need to do that just to make sure things keep going. But then we take time to think about a midterm solution that will involve analyzing all the processes and seeing what we can do in order to get rid of that problem forever. And then we do have a third solution for the long term that we involve tech. So we try to solve all our problems with tech. So we involve the tech team, the product team, and we think about how with technology we can solve the problem that we had. So that's the approach that we have. First, we need to solve the problem no matter how. Then we need to find a way in the midterm to change the way we are doing things in order to avoid that problem in the near future. And then we try to involve tech to see how with technology we can get that problem solved. And it's basically that's what we're doing every single day, right? Trying to solve problems and thinking how we can get rid of those problems in the near future.
Got it. Very well said. To sort of give my personal experience as well, when I ordered, I forgot that I ordered from you guys and hadn't gone out to the checkout. And within like half an hour, I got a call from a very friendly customer service lady who mentioned that if I want to continue and what do I want to do, etc. And that is that level of detail that you don't see from other people, and probably why you must be getting a lot of recurring business once people are on your platform. Now, what makes the Mexican market, in your opinion, so attractive, or what makes it different from perhaps the rest of Latam?
The first thing, of course, is the size of the country. It's always very appealing to most of the companies, but I think that we have really good economic conditions here in Mexico. I mean, we are an emerging economy. We have been quite stable through the years. There's a lot of access to capital. An important thing, we have very evolved consumers. I think compared to other countries, maybe not Brazil, but we do have some early adopters, tech-savvy people. Especially in some cities, I would say Mexico City, Guadalajara, people is willing to try new things. So that's also very appealing to some of the companies. The word of mouth marketing in Mexico is amazing.
Okay.
So that's like something that is super helpful. And I would say that is why some companies are very interested in Mexico. No? We do have some cons, of course, I would say, and I will speak from my past experiences, both in education and in mobility or ride-hailing company, regulations.
Yep.
Like there are still some regulations to navigate, and it's not easy.
Okay.
Right? You coming from the fintech world know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
Right. So it's difficult to navigate through those regulations. Sometimes we as startup companies move very fast, and our government is not as fast as we would like to. Right. I've been doing some negotiations with governments in Colombia, for example, or in Chile, and their openness is bigger than the one that we have here in Mexico. And another problem that we have is the bancarization of the country. Yep. When you are into online payments, your market gets really reduced because of the bancarization of the population is not as it should be. Like if you go to Brazil, it's amazing how everybody is or has a credit card or a debit card, and they do use it for their day-to-day transactions. Here in Mexico, the use of cash is huge. So when you are involved in a tech company that uses credit cards as a method of payment, it's difficult to get traction at the beginning, because you have a very small or the population that you are aiming is reduced. Yeah. But overall, I think it's one of the most attractive markets in the region, with Colombia and Brazil maybe, and that's because we have a very evolved consumer-based population. Right?
Very good point. One interesting thing that perhaps we can also talk about is, and I'm not sure whether you might agree or disagree with this, that I feel there might be a correlation to Jüsto's growth with COVID-19. Now that you can't physically go to a store, and now you have this option to do everything online, bundle it, great customer service. What will happen when things start sort of slowly opening again and people start visiting physical stores again that are next to their house?
Of course, it will be like a life. We say that COVID didn't help. Of course, it helped. And the ratio, the growth ratio that we had back then at the beginning of COVID was just amazing, right? So yes, it helps. Of course, it helped. And I think that it helped not only us, but it helped people to start looking into new options, online options, to get their basic needs. What will happen when COVID is more under control and people start to going out again? I think that we will see a deceleration in the growth rate. We will still grow, of course. We are quite small compared to the population that we have here in Mexico. We're going to expand ourselves to other cities, so we will continue with super high growth rates. But I think that people is now more aware of the good things that an e-commerce have in e-groceries. One of the main reasons people were like not willing to buy their supermarket online has to do with quality. They want to see the tomatoes. They want to see the products that they are buying, especially in fruits and vegetables and maybe proteins and all that. Because if you are going to buy, I don't know, any other product like milk, you know that you will buy your milk and the milk will be milk, like always, right? But when when you're talking about the fresh products, people want to see their products. And historically, supermarkets have not been doing a really good job with those departments or categories. So now that they know that they have a really good option that will provide really good quality products, we'll start to disincentivize them to visit the physical store. So we really think that we will be able to maintain this growth rate because of the experience that we're offering the user. I mean, they can spend time outside, but I mean, I don't know, some people like to go to a supermarket. For me, super boring. Super boring. Like, I think that you can spend your time doing other things outside rather than going to a supermarket. And now that they have an option and that they know that they will get really good products, that they will continue to use an e-grocery store or Jüsto.
Very well said. I normally do on the podcast, which is called Payback Period. The guest's supposed to ask me a question.
Based on your experience, and you have been involved in this innovation bubble that we're trying to or that we are into, what does it take for Mexico to become an innovation hub for the region? What do we need to do as Mexicans, as a community, to have the next Silicon Valley here? We have seen a really good example in Colombia with Rappi and all the ecosystem that they are creating, right? So what do it takes here in Mexico to have something strong in terms of in terms of innovation hub? Because we have really good companies here in the region. Our fintech industry is amazing. We have Kavak, that it's an amazing company. So we do have we have Jüsto, of course. So we do have really good things going on.
Yeah, that's a very good question, and I've had a lot of conversations and thought about this myself. I feel that it comes down to a few things. One is just the general sense of risk taking. Outside this innovation bubble that we have, or group of entrepreneurs that we have, the average Mexican isn't as interested in, my aim is I want to start my own business by the time I'm 30, 31 or whatever. I feel a lot of them are like, okay, you know what? I want my pension at the end. I want to have the 9-to-5 job, and there's nothing wrong with it. But it definitely holds back a few people who are sort of interested in creating the next big thing. And everybody may have a great idea, especially in the banking space. There's so much we could be doing better. And a lot of people have such great comments. But then when you ask them, why don't you go ahead and do it? They're like, I don't know. I don't think I'm ready. So I think that general level of risk taking, which with the success of companies like Kavak, Jüsto, Confio, Jsto, it's getting more mainstream. So it's creating a virtuous cycle where people are realizing it's not as risky as it may have been maybe 5 to 10 years ago. And there's a thrill in it that once you've done something, you've created something out of nothing. So that, I think, with time will change, but it needs to be strong. The second, you nailed it, regulation, that it has to become more friendly. I mean, case in point with the fintech law, it's always just rolling around, and then you're waiting to hear something, and then suddenly goes blackout again. So I feel that regulation needs to catch up with the innovation, and that's something that perhaps the future entrepreneurs can lobby or become part of the regulation body and help drive this into the future. The third thing I felt is talent, and this is changing very quickly as well. When I joined Confio, the people who were really interested in joining were very eager people, but a lot of times you would feel that in terms of the real technical skill, it was hit or miss, and myself included. It gave the time for me to learn and catch up and move fast. But then if, let's say, I were to try that in Silicon Valley, I don't think I would have made it. There was a school in the beginning where everybody was learning together through making a ton of mistakes. Those are my thoughts on how it can, and I would love to hear from you as well. Like, what do you think is
regulations?
Yeah.
For me, that's the basic thing that we need to address as soon as possible. Mm-hmm. Right now, in this business, in the e-groceries industry, I think we do have some regulations. I mean, it's not that bad, but back then when I was in mobility and ride-hailing, it was a nightmare. Yeah. And I have been very close to some fintechs as well, and
yes,
absolutely, it's a day-to-day struggle. And the second one, I would say, it has to do with more company. We need to develop more Mexican venture capital companies. We do have a lot of investment, but the thing is that companies that are investing in Mexico are usually investing in ex-startup like gurus. Like, I mean, yes, all the founders, you see Kavak, like it's the Linio Mafia, right? And then you have the Cabify Mafia with Ricardo Beder, with me, with Kearney from Bruna. So they are usually investing only in people and in projects that they know that will have a really good opportunity. But I don't see venture capitals that are investing in people with no experience at all, like venture builders. We do have some really good venture capitals in Mexico. We work with Mountain Nazca, for example, and they are amazing. It's the best thing that can happen to Jüsto, but you don't see a lot of them, right? You see like 5-6 venture capital firms, and that's it. So
absolutely, that is very well said, and it's something I hope changes once a bunch of the successful entrepreneurs exit and they have all their billions to invest. They'll start putting it back in the ecosystem again. Yeah, very well said. So before we wrap up, would you like to give any last piece of advice for future entrepreneurs, or any interesting updates you want to share about Jüsto to our potential listeners?
Yeah, for sure. About Jüsto, we're starting to expand our presence in the region. We started our operations in Querétaro a few weeks ago, and we're planning to continue our expansion through the rest of the year. So if you're not from Mexico City, just be aware that we might be in your city in the near future. And I think that will be it. Right. Thank you very much, Ricky. Great to talk to you.
Likewise. Thank you so much for taking time out. Would you like to share your contact information if anybody wants to speak with you personally?
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of my last name is kind of difficult, but you can send me an email, of course.
Yeah.
It's Sisniega. It's ASISNIEGA.
Yep.
Jüsto.mx. Yeah. And you can also find me in LinkedIn with Alejandro Sisniega.
Perfect. All the best to Jüsto. You guys are doing amazing work. Thank you so much again, Alejandro. This was so much fun.
No, thank you, Ritik, and please let us know if we are not doing the right things.
Okay.
We like to listen.
Absolutely.
From our customers. And thank you for your time as well.
Thank you.